Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at the Valaverse Action Force Swarm Sentry. This is a gold swarm. Yes, it is just a repaint with all the exact same accessories, but it is gold. And I think it may fit with a big guy that flies on a serpent air chariot. Matter of fact, I think they all will. So anyway, before we get started, you know the deal. Take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and definitely hit that bell notification so you're notified every time one of these videos go out. So that's enough of that. Let's get to this. Yes, I have decided that all of my Action Force baddies are going to be part of Serpentor's Coil group. That's just what I decided to name it. I just think they fit. So here it is. This is a gold one. This is the Swarm Sentry, so obviously he is a higher caliber swarm trooper. I don't know. So anyway, as you can see, there's a nice big glare on it. But we're going to open this up. We're going to get him out of this plastic prison because, hey, you know what? Toys don't like being in there. On the side, we have this wonderful artwork. Tells you that it's Swarm Sentry. And it's the fifth one, right? Open up 2. When you're looking through this, you see 5. It's the second one. And on the back here, we have the picture. No more cross-out. I will miss the cross-out. I do like that. And we have a file card. And I will tell you this, that as you can see how it's blacked out looking at it, they are different file cards. So it's not just a Super 7, oh, we hit the dab and we made the figure black to Hispanic to white. They actually put some time and effort into changing stuff, unlike what Super 7 does. And I refuse to go down the road of bitching about Super 7. So anyway, as you can see, this is how he looks. You want to see what the figure looks like. You don't want to see what I look like because you've probably seen enough of these videos. So let's just get to it. Alright, so figure is out. I'm not going to show you. Taking the thing out of the box, you don't really care. So here's the box. And everything is different on the Special Deployment series. If you haven't seen any Valaverse videos, I don't know where you've been. I've been numerous ones. So it comes with a cover over it, then a plastic shield that just peels up over it so it doesn't wear the paint down. Again, I've never really had an issue. I think there's maybe a little too much paint. I don't think you need this or this, considering you have this, and these aren't sold in stores. So again, cut down on the plastic. I don't really care. All right, so there's the figure standing straight up. Quickly, we'll take a look at what it comes with. It comes with his stand. A lot of those stands are color coded to fit the character. It's nice. It's a big, thick stand. You can see Action Force. It's got 4 pegs on it, and then it's got a slit for the file card. People seem to love these stands. I absolutely hate them, to be honest, because just look how thick they are. If you're just going to have him standing there with the file card, great. If you want to do dynamic poses, this thing it's going to focus on your figure, and who cares? Now I'm going to see a stand, not what the figure is doing. So, but they do a nice job for the most part. It's just too thick in my personal opinion. So every Action Force figure comes with at least 8 hands. So quickly we'll take a look. He has 2 fist hands. He has 2 cupping hands, which are made for the rifle. Then he has 2 thumb wrestling hands. And then he obviously has the 2 trigger fingers that come on him. All right. Here he has a small knife. And they do a little bit of paint on this. So you have the paint on the blade right there, but on the other side, I guess it's the shadow of the light. So the blade is silver, the rest of it is black. Here you have his gun. Now in series 1, they really seem to use a lot of the exact same weapons over and over and over. They look nice. This is a real world weapon, although it looks kind of futuristic. So I do like this handgun. Then you obviously have a little bit of paint app to it. The detail is absolutely wonderful on it. Well, you know what I haven't mentioned is that they all have ports so they can have blast effects. And then you have his vector gun. I hated this gun when I first saw it. The more and more time has come on, I've actually learned to kind of like this gun and actually hear about how the vector works and the fact of where the actual barrel is and where the bullet shoots out, that it is centered properly. It actually makes sense. But when you look at this gun, I think it looks really nice. I think they have one where this is painted white. I think it looks really nice, to be honest. But this is going to fit this figure and this character. Again, the detail is absolutely wonderful on it, and we're going to be able to get it on without any problem. So here we're going to take a look at the figure. Haven't posed him at all. As I've mentioned with all of these special deployment figures so far, the plastic feels more like a Hasbro, where it's softer, it's more pliable, and it is way better than Series 1 and even Series 2. But it's not, nothing is loose. Everything seems so good. So this is a repaint of the Swarm and the Scarab. Now on my Scarab, I had the leg break right off right out of the box. Hopefully this has been rectified, and I don't see why it wouldn't be. So right off the bat, we're going to go in and try and do a Jean-Claude Van Damme. No issues there. Remind you, I haven't heated anything up. They do have drop-down hips. Now, when you do the Jean-Claude or anything like this, the way that these are created, the way this hangs down, it definitely obstructs doing certain things, especially with this overlay here. Double knee pose, double knee joints, pinless, looks really good. As I mentioned in all the other videos, most of them have sidearm holsters, and it causes a problem where you can't hit your butt. But again, I don't really care. I can't touch my own butt with my foot. So there we go. We got a nice thigh cut. There is no boot cut on these figures, but you do still have a ankle rocker. And this one here, again, because there's no straps, it's supposed to be part of the armor. It fits fine, no problem. Thigh cut, ankle rockers. These here are definitely going to cause some obstruction, the way that it hangs down. And the boots are different than the other ones. Then we have our T-pose. It's normally what I start off with these. And I will mention it again. The T-pose is the most problematic thing nowadays with the Valaverse. And that is because, unfortunately, maybe if I do enough videos, he'll see one and go, I need to rectify that, is the shoulder hangs over. And with this figure, it's even worse because you have this armor cap that goes over your shoulder, and it prevents you from going up. So not only is this crashing into the pivot up here, if it goes up further, it's actually going to crash into that. My biggest issue with these figures. Here we go. Pinless joints, double elbow pose, no problem. Bicep swivel, no problem. So I will say this, the Swarm and the Scarab figures were probably the softest figures that I had. And yes, I did have a Scarab where the leg broke right off, but they did rectify it. You can see that video if you really want to look for it. All right. And then he can move up and down. So I'm looking at this one here, and I'm going to say, so this is good because pull off my old Swarm here. And this was a huge problem that I had. And when I pointed it out, you're not going to be able to not see it again. Is when the light hits, all you can see is that ball joint behind it. And on the Scarab, it's even worse because he's just a ball. So all you can see is that ball joint behind it. They need to find a way to rectify something like that. This one here, it's not translucent. It's not what I can tell, but it has this nice sheen to it. So I think it looks really cool. It's a nice looking mask. And again, he's going to look absolutely awesome with Serpentor. All right, so let's start taking off the hands. So far on all these special deployment series 3 here, they seem to come off pretty easy. And once again, no problems at all. And as I've mentioned on the other videos, so here's the cupping hand. This is usually the one that I use, so this is going to make him be a righty. All right, so the way these things were notched before, if you look at it, they have 2 little notches. And when they pop in here, the original ones had a problem where they didn't lock in. You had to really push. Sometimes you had to warm them up. I thought maybe there was an issue. I think you just had to do with the plastic. Now, so far with these, they pop right into place. I don't know if he fixed that on purpose or if it's just by accident. I find it hard to believe that that's not something that was done on purpose. And it's something that is gladly accepted. I love it. I like the fact that he actually went ahead and he's fixed certain things and aspects of these action figures that others don't. And I mentioned before, yes, when it comes to repaints, it's all about expanding your budget. With Hasbro, people think, hey, you know what? They're a billion-dollar company. G.I. Joe shouldn't have repaints, but G.I. Joe is not a billion-dollar brand. So when you're getting these repaints in G.I. Joe, it's expanding the budget going into the next year. Well, when he does repaints, it's the same thing. I mentioned before how he has about 3 different bucks, this being one of them. And the one thing about it is you repaint so you can save on that mold. The difference between what I've seen with Valaverse and what I've seen on Hasbro is when they repaint all the snake eyes and the vipers, they don't go back and they don't tighten up the joints. He listens, he goes back, and he fixes the problems. He fixes things that were problematic. And you have to appreciate that, especially with a small company. So we'll take a look at the paint. It looks like there's only 2 paint apps on this, which probably keeps the cost down on this figure. So when he's charging $32 for the figure, who knows how much he's paying for the figure. But if he only has 2 paint apps, figure's already done. This is probably where he's gaining some money so he can create new figures. So right off the bat, you're looking at everything, and I think the paint apps are done so well on this. It's not Super 7 crap where they're in the wrong spots and the owner just says, hey, you know what, just deal with it. These look good. You look at his arm, nice paint, nice detail. This all looks good. Nothing is worn. Now, this guy is a crispy, clean figure. There's no wear and tear on him. He's got a sheath for his knife. I'm not a big fan of this. I hate the way they just stick out. I know it might be realistic, but it's just kind of cumbersome and in the way. And he just has this nice gold look to him. Like a sidearm. And looking at this here, you can tell this is softer plastic already because it's already kind of collapsed in, which I'm perfectly fine with. His other stuff was so rigid, that stuff was just breaking right off the bat. I say right off the bat, way too much. Should probably come up with a new catchphrase. Or maybe we come up with sure, right off the bat. Anyway, the guns have always been kind of rigid, so you got to be careful. I don't know if he's changed it. I've only had one that's broken. So here, you take a look. He's got his vector. You can pose it pretty easily. And there you have a figure that's going to stand pretty easily. You don't have to fight. I don't think you need the stands, to be honest. The way he developed the foot, I'm going to guess he did it on purpose. Maybe he did it, maybe he just lucked out. But there's 2 different boots, boot bottoms, and they sit properly. You want to get this guy on one leg. This one might be a little bit more difficult because of this here. But I've had no issues getting other figures on one leg. Looks like I might have an issue with this figure. Alright, so getting him to stand, look at that. One leg. Kind of hit the table. he finally fell. The other ones don't. So I think it might have to do with this here. You have a hard time. This just, it is in the way. That is something, you know, some figures are gonna have something like this. That's just in the way. If you were to remove that, I think you'd have a better chance of getting him to pose that way. But no one's gonna pose him on one leg and walk around and leave it like that unless you're gonna use a stand. So there you go. There's your Swarm Sentry. This will be your definitive Serpentor Ultimate Guard, whatever you want to call it. So let's wrap this up and finish up. All right, so there's your Swarm Sentry figure. I've done a lot of these Valaverse. There's only so much to do because there's a lot of repaints, as I mentioned, 3 different bucks, 3.5 maybe. I think once those females come out at the end of the month or early next year, there's going to be a lot more to show because it's finally something new. So it's hard to continue to go on and just kind of show you the same old designs. The one thing I did forget to mention here with this figure, I'm trying to get this figure. All right, so I mentioned about the plastic. So this is one of the cupping hands, and it's way more pliable. You can push it in nice and easy, no problem whatsoever. Here I have part of Series 1, and this was just a regular figure. And you can push it in, but it is hard. Like, these things will snap. I snapped numerous pegs here. Ooh, I don't want to mix them up. But when you feel something like this here, it pegs in properly, it snaps. The peg here moves nice and smoothly, no issues. So he's made changes like he's supposed to. Not like he's supposed to, but like he said he would. There's always been a few little gripes. I'm not going to, never going to change. I guarantee you what's going to happen is probably going to have a wing set that will come for this, and people will go out and they'll buy that. Plus the wing set, and you're going to be spending $50 on a figure. Again, he's a businessman. He's got to make his money. But all in all, it is a nice looking figure. I like the eyes on this one better than that. I like the idea of the translucent, but the issue is then you just see the peg. And on the Scarab Trooper, it's even worse because it's just a big translucent ball, and then you just see the peg underneath it, or the ball, peg, or whatever it is. Anyway, that's it. This is a good figure. I will be comparing the regular Swarm Trooper to the Series 1. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time staying in this guy and getting him to stay up. I haven't had any issues with most of the Valaverse figures. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. You know the deal. Take a second, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell notification. As I've always mentioned, like button. It tells YouTube people are enjoying this. So if you like any content creator, not just me, anyone you like that, like their content. It's easy to forget. I'm rambling on. What's new? The social media is a Punk with Toys on Instagram and Twitter. If anyone goes on Twitter very much, listen, I shoot out when I do the videos on Twitter. I don't understand Twitter. I don't. It has nothing to do with politically why I'm not on it. I don't understand it. People make comments or they'll reply, and I'm like, how do I see these damn comments? How do I reply? I don't get it. So that's a small little rant that I just Facebook page, I'll drop a link in this video. Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a punk with toys. All I know is I'm going to tell you what YouTube tells me to do. Probably shouldn't tell you that YouTube tells me to do this. Anyway, I usually say, have a wonderful night and happy toy hunting. But YouTube says, this right here, well, this is my Valaverse playlist. You should go and keep watching stuff. Because, hey, listen, I've done all the reviews. So go ahead, watch this playlist, enjoy. Have a wonderful day. Happy toy hunting.